Radio Live. One of your hosts today, I'll be hosting the show. This is Damian Walker. Thankful to have everybody here again today. I always want you guys to go and check out the website, visualradiolive.webs.com. Check it out, read some of our bios, see some things that we got going on around the country right now. We have Houston, Philadelphia. Where you at, Aaron?
VA. VA.
You got VA in the house, so just go and check out, see what we got going on. Right now, we're going to let Aaron just introduce Aaron. How you doing today, Aaron?
Hey, what's good, man? No doubt, bro.
Man, happy to be here. Chad?
Hello, family. How you doing? Absolutely glad to be on another blessed Sunday. I'm glad that we can all get together. I just want to remind everybody that this forum, this dialogue, it's for you. So please, at any time, feel free to check us out, visualradiolive.webs.com. Submit questions, comments, if you have suggestions, anything you'd like us to touch on, feel free to do that. This is for you. This is our family in hip-hop. Glad to be here.
Got our producer, Joe. We got a chair right now, so he's the producer, musician, rap artist of the group, been doing it about 20 years. We got his chair representing him right now. We're going to pass him up. We're going to go straight to Sarah.
What's up, y'all? I'm definitely thankful to be here. There's no other panel like the panel that is before us today, and I just can't wait to get to the issues. Let's get it cracking.
Let's get it going. Wait for our good brother Joe to come back. He'll be back shortly, but I'm sure he'll be able to come in and just jump right in the mix. Today's topic is Illuminati in hip-hop, fact or fiction. There's been a lot of talk about it, a lot of YouTube posts, a lot of people speaking out about this particular topic lately a lot, but I'm sure it's been growing about the last 3, 4, 5 years. So a lot of things have been going on, so we're going to jump straight into it. One of the biggest people that I know that seems to know the most about it is a good friend, Sarah. So, Sarah, Illuminati in hip-hop, who are they?
Okay, so the Illuminati in hip-hop, you got to look at it as a broader picture where it is the Illuminati in hip-hop, but hip-hop is just one of the sects, or just one of the groups or the facets. The Illuminati in general is like an ancient evil, that kind of has been around pretty much since the beginning of recorded time, and their whole goal is to give certain people more knowledge than others so they can maintain that system of control.
Okay. Good opening remarks. Aaron, what you got for me?
With the Illuminati, like Sarah was saying, just to piggyback on that, it's pretty much a family. It's a family of people that pretty much had the power from the beginning of the time here in America. It's no different. They branch out in many aspects of control, man. Music, politics, oil, whatever, all kind of corporations, and it became this big phenomenon in hip hop, but it's really nothing new. Pretty much that's in a nutshell. It became this kind of, it's a silly phenomenon now because it's kind of silly when I see it now when we talk about the Illuminati. It's probably not even that name. You know what I mean? They just put it out there like the carrot, and you can go ahead and latch on to it like, oh, the Illuminati. They laughing at you saying, oh, okay, that's cool. It's the Illuminati. Yeah, that's what our name is now. Whatever.
Okay, cool. Joe came back. He still got to wait his turn in line. So we're going to go to Chad now. Chad, what you got for us?
The Illuminati.
In hip-hop. Let's see what you got.
Yeah. The Illuminati in hip-hop. I think first you'd have to establish, if there is a fact in Illuminati. So for them to be in hip-hop, they would have to exist before that. I don't think it's something that came along just, within the confines of hip-hop. They existed long before that, I believe. Yeah. And I think a lot of times the conspiratorial side of it, gets caught up in the name of it, because when you're talking about the Illuminati or whatever the name it truly is, you're talking about, you're talking about governments, you're talking about shadow governments behind the government, you're talking about world leaders, you're talking about politicians, heads of captains of industry, heads of the church state like the Vatican. And when you get into what is their overall goal, which is world domination and reducing the world's population, and you look at it from the if you approach it from the fact that they control, you know, all the major aspects of industry and the political structure and everything, you can kind of get away from the conspiratorial side of it. So are they in hip hop? Yeah, that's just another facet of them getting into the control and everything. The ultimate goal, I feel, is to create a world without God. So are they in hip hop? Yes, I believe that they are. I'm just not so caught up on the name, but that's the name that we all know this by.
Very, very good point, Chad. It's been going strong. I know Joe will continue with it. Brother Joe, what you think you got for us this morning?
What's the question?
Who are they? The Illuminati in hip hop, fact or fiction? Who are they?
From what I've read, it's allegedly a shadowy group of people that just try to sway public opinion, try to manipulate situations to their own advantage. It's a bunch of things I don't know about what they do, but pretty much that's it. As far as the whole thing is about control. Every time I read something about it, the end game is the control of something or monetary. So that's about as far as how deep my knowledge of they go as far as that.
Okay, very good. End game. So going back over that point, who are they? Sarah, ancient group of evil. Aaron, basically a family. Along those lines, Chad exists before hip hop. Real strong words that Chad too create a world without God. Joe, a group of basically people that desire to manipulate what's going on in the world, have their hand in history. So some real points, guys. We're gonna start with Joe on this one since he just finished out. Since you have read, you have had some good discussions about it, and you said the end game. What basically do they want? What is their end game? What are they looking to accomplish?
What's the end game for the Illuminati? As it's from what I've read, their end game is, like I say, control. And that word control is universal. Whatever market, whatever arena, if you're talking music, control over what is played, what's not played, who is the most popular person. If you're talking, it's just, if you're talking politics, of course, you know what goes with the presidency and different government hierarchies throughout the world and stuff like that. So if the Illuminati are legitimate, it's a big power play. You know, it's a big power play being set up.
Good points, Joe. Chad, what you got for me?
What do I feel is the ultimate goal?
Yes, sir. In hip hop, and that's one thing too, guys. We want to do our best to overall, but let's kind of stick to the hip hop point as well.
Okay. So in keeping with the ultimate goal, which is to have a secular world and, you know, to have financial control of everything in the world, as far as in hip hop, it's just to, you know, persuade everybody, you know, or keep people thinking in such a way that they embrace, you know, the secular world that's ultimately, you know, to come. And so, the way you accomplish that in hip hop is with, you know, the music. The music becomes, you know, sexual. You know, you become numb to the violence and everything. Everything is sexual. You know, we embrace homosexuality and all these different things. And, you know, ultimately you have people that don't necessarily think for themselves, and people that are not spiritually, you know, inept to cope when this secular world eventually, you know, takes over.
Very good. Aaron, what do they want? What's their end goal in hip hop? The Illuminati.
Hip hop is just the, you know, just like you said, the blind the masses on, like, consciously, like, to not think consciously, to kind of just follow trends. Constantly, you know, the effemination of the black man in particular. That's one thing our people like a lot of effemination. the whole pushing society to not be married and all that. And like it's not like you say it's a preference you want to be married or not, but it's like in hip hop they make it cool to not have a family. Or yeah, I mean it's like one of them things like. In the end, hip hop, you know, with the power with the B, it's all about money and power. You know, it's about money and power. You know, hip hop is a $1 billion industry, so you know they're gonna have their hands all in there. You know, in a nutshell.
Very good, Sarah. One thing Chad spoke on was numbing. I like what Aaron said about breaking down a family. So again, and you came up with some wonderful questions. So in hip hop, what's the role? What do they want? And again, I like what Chad and Eric said about the numbing of it. I guess of our natural ability, our family want to have the families and everything like that. But Sarah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, first of all, in order to understand, you know, in order to be able to predict something's behaviors, you have to understand the nature of it. The Illuminati, you know, or whatever, because Illuminati, let's just stop calling it Illuminati, because that word actually means illuminated. Anybody can be illuminated if you read a book. You know what I mean? So whoever those ancient sects of evil are, if you look back in ancient times, all over the culture, all over the world, it all goes back to one time when fallen angels, aliens, whatever you want to call them, came down to earth and gave specific knowledge to certain individuals, including mixing the bloodline so that you would be half angel or half, you know, alien, whatever, half human. That's just history. I'm not making it up. These are not my words. Google it, right? That's number one. So let's think about who orchestrated the whole fall anyway of whatever are those ancient beings down to earth. That's Satan. Who is Satan other than the angel that was in charge of music? Now let's bring it all back to hip hop. He was the angel that's in charge of music. Music scientifically has restorative powers. It has healing powers. Audio frequencies can change your DNA. I'm not making it up. Google it. And what they want is basically to take this popular music, to take this popular form of expressing, you know, ourselves that has been created by human beings and turn it into something that is numbing, that is over-sexualized, that just has all these properties that don't restore us to our former glory, but actually take us down a couple of notches so those people that are in power can remain that way.
Yes, sir.
Very good. And I think what everybody's getting to is that there's been a infiltration, basically, from what started out as a form of music with African roots. So that's what it basically is. It's like an infiltration. They came in because a lot of money started being made, like we talked about last week, when hip-hop started taking over, making the most money in the music business, all the number one hits, then a lot of commercials. We saw McDonald's and all the other commercials started incorporating hip-hop into it. So basically, once there was an opportunity to make money, there was an infiltration. That's what I'm getting from you guys. So the next question is, and anybody can jump on this, whoever feeling it right now, when did it start? And again, we want to stay focused on hip-hop. When do you think? Because there's no particular time frame. You can't say it came out in LL Bad. You know, it came out when Beastie Boys dropped this or when the Get Up Boys dropped this. We don't necessarily know at that point. But from all the research you guys have done, and you guys have been a part of hip-hop for the last 30 years, everybody over here over 30 except Sarah, she's 25. That's what she tells us. So when do you think, with all your research, that it started?
I could start it. I said between 88 and 93, 94, where they probably started putting their hand into it.
I would say the first time I ever heard about this, as far as in relation to hip hop, is when Tupac died. You know, that's the first time I heard actually the Illuminati and stuff like that, with Illuminati and stuff like that. That's the first time I actually heard that verbiage in hip hop. Read the books that preceded it, but it blew up when Tupac died.
Let's go, Chad. Sarah?
I was just to piggyback on what Job said. That was actually my first exposure to the Illuminati. I'd never heard that term before until he mentioned it. So I would say right around, as far as I can tell, right around that time, or just before. But like really strong and prevalent, I'd say from what I've seen about the last five years, as well as I'm really getting a foothold on the industry and everything that we see in hip hop today.
I like a funny story. I remember that the first time I heard was Prodigy on the LL Cool J joint. I forgot the name of that joint. God, where he's like a secret society trying to keep their eye on me.
Right.
He said that on the LL Cool J. Man, it'll pop up to me.
Oh, that's with Cannabis. You're talking about, my fault. You're talking about that song with Cannabis, right?
No, the LL Cool J.
After that.
Cannabis was on there. I know what I'm talking about, y'all. It's hip hop. Cannabis was on that joint with LL Cool J. Yeah.
No. It was LJ. It was Keith Murray. It was Fat Joe, Foxy, and LL and Prodigy.
Cannabis wasn't on that song.
No, he wasn't on that joint. It's
All right, I'm going back on mute.
Oh man, I'm gonna get it real quick, man. It'll pop in my head.
No, it's your turn now, sir. What do you think? When did it start?
All right, guys. I love you guys. I think that for real, I was, when all those people came out, I was a little bit younger, so I definitely wasn't aware of, even politics or none of that. But in doing research, I think that in order to figure out when it started, you got to go back and look at the imagery, right? Because the quote-unquote Illuminati or the ancient, groups of evil are very, very heavy in imagery, symbols, signs, colors, that kind of thing. And if you go back in videos and you start seeing those same images or signs repeated, is how you know. Like, I just saw something on Heavy D, of all people, Heavy D and the Boys. He had this video where it was like a black angel and, all these crazy symbols. And I'm like, huh, Heavy? So, I mean, I invite the audience to do your research,
Okay. Let's stay here because we all moving kind of fast. We got some good dialogue going on. I really appreciate everybody getting prepared as best as possible. So let's stay here for a little bit. Pop, my belief, again, I don't listen to a lot of gangster rap now. I don't listen to a lot of it anymore. But I mean, I'm still active. It's on the radio. I got serious. I'm in the car. Sometimes I just want to hear a beat. We talked about that the other day. Pop, I mean, big influence, man. Big influence. Everybody knows that he was talented. Movies, he did a lot of stuff, man, that rappers still aspire to do to this day. So let's talk about him. Of course, where he comes from, his family, his mother and stuff like that, the people that he grew up around, he knew a lot of stuff, just knowledge, that a lot of people don't have an opportunity to know. So he comes out with the music, Illuminati, Machiavelli, and this was also a historical figure. Machiavelli, a lot of people started reading up on it. At this particular time, we started finding out what it was. A lot of people didn't agree with it after they read it. But let's just stop for a minute and talk here about not necessarily when did it start, but the influential figures. Pop, was he trying to expose us to what was about to happen? Do you think that was a thing, or do you think that he was a part of it, or what? Let's go with Sarah. She's shaking her head. All right, I know you wanted it.
I don't get ready to raise my hand, like I don't want to cut in. All right, I saw this crazy interview. You got to go back on YouTube and Google it. I'm gonna see if I can put the name of it in the on the website later on. But it was this crazy interview where it was audio with Tupac, where he was saying that the reason why him and Quincy Jones had a falling out was because Quincy Jones wanted him to do he wanted him to do the do.
I remember that story.
And Quincy Jones was like, if you're not going to do this, then pretty much your days are numbered. And I don't know if that's exactly how the story went, but this is my synopsis from it. And I've heard that part, doing the do with record execs is part of the ritual. And I don't know if we're going to get into that today, and I don't want to jump too far ahead. But it's just like, these influential people, you can always tell like who was about it and who wasn't by their level of success. You couldn't stop a force like Tupac. You had to kill him. because he would never, you know what I mean? He ain't gonna be on no Dave Chappelle going to Africa. No, he's too militant for that. He's gonna stand in your face, tell you what it is, and then say what. You know, so I think that we can see who's really trying to subject us to this by who made that major change and who's still here today. That's my opinion.
Think, Chad?
Yeah, I mean, Tupac to me was always conscious, especially when he left Digital Underground and kind of went off on his own. To me, he was always a conscious brother, and I think he was trying to expose us to, as far as in hip hop, to that darker side of the industry sometimes. One thing that always sticks out to me in terms of with the Illuminati in the music industry, if you go back and look at one of the Masonic symbols, of the Illuminati, of the so-called Illuminati, is the all-seeing eye. You see that on the dollar bill. You see that in a lot of imagery. You even see it in a lot of cartoons. If you ever watch episodes of The Simpsons, you pay attention to a lot of episodes. The all-seeing eye is always in there. A lot of movies, imagery and things of that nature. A lot of times when they interview artists or throughout their videos, they're covering up one eye and all this kind of thing. But if you go back and look at Michael Jackson's video, They Don't Really Care About Us, there's a certain part where in his lyrics he's talking about they can never kill me. Well, when he says that, he's standing next to a wall with the all-seeing eye on it. And that always, kind of sparked my curiosity if he was, trying to, pretty much send the message. But yeah, I know we're keeping this with just hip hop. I mean, but just the industry in and of itself, let's just say it's part of the Illuminati because they're all, titans of the industry and what have you. I remember reading a story also about, Sam Cooke. We all know how he died and everything, but shortly before that, Sam Cooke had actually, because he was made quite a bit of money, in those times for what the dollar was worth in that time, but unbeknownst to a lot of people, he actually told Malcolm X and Dr. King, they were both still living at the time, that from then on he was going to fund any and everything that they needed. He was going to take on the responsibility for them, so they wouldn't have to worry about going out. They could focus fully on what they were trying to accomplish and everything. He was going to take care of that for them. They wouldn't have to go to anybody else to ask for money. He said, "Now you come to me, and I'll take care of all your financial responsibilities." And shortly thereafter, he divines. So I mean, it sparks your curiosity. It does leave the mind open to that darker side of the industry as far as them maintaining control and everything, and not to make sure that there's never somebody that's going to rise up and influence of people in a positive way. So that's my take on it. But to answer the question, I believe that Tupac I believe he was very conscious in trying to tell us about that side of the industry.
Okay. What you got for us, Aaron?
On Tupac, Tupac, like you said, like Tupac knew about he was a Black Panther. His mother was a Black Panther. One of the things too was he was trying to unite the gangs, because the gangs are a faction of the Black Panthers before infiltration and became a negative thing. So that was one thing. Also, he was uniting artists from the East and the West Coast. Because Pac wasn't just respected on the West Coast. Pac was respected by Wu. He was affiliated with Redman, BCC, Boot Camp Clique. Like, this was just dudes, because Pac was from the East Coast. And then also he went out west. He was cool with E40. Lots of dudes that had major clout out west. And he was an influential dude. He was a Garveyite / a Malcolm X type cat, but just was a talented artist. He just could do whatever. Like, he was going to be a great actor. He was just too powerful for them to continue on, and they couldn't contain him. That Quincy Jones story was the reason why him and his lady, was it Kadada, they supposed to get married or something. That was the story. And that after that happened, he broke up with her over that. So I mean, it's crazy. And what else was I gonna follow? Donny Hathaway. It was a funny story about Donny Hathaway. Donny Hathaway jumped out it was alleged that he jumped out of the building or something. But you think about that stuff like that, like, these dudes work hard to get to a level where they success. Why would they commit suicide? That means that mentally they're stronger. They're mentally so strong that why would they go all of a sudden just say and break? I just never got into that, and I always been intrigued by things like that. So
very good, very good. Joe?
I'm gonna set myself up as the skeptic on the panel today.
Right.
It's a couple of things just going down the line. Starting with Tupac, right? I've heard about that story. You know what I'm saying? It sounds pretty credible to me. The thing about it is this, you know, so he was approached by Quincy Jones to have sex or whatever. The thing about it is this, not particularly in rap, but in entertainment, period. Women have been, they call it the casting couch. You understand what I'm saying? To get to a different level, such and such and such and such, women traditionally have had to have sex with people that's inside the business, you know, to get to different levels. One, and the reason I'm saying this person's name, I'm very particular about saying people's name live online with stuff I can't substantiate. You know what I'm saying? Roseanne Barr has gone on television and said she had to sleep with different people. You would think she, in her own words, she said, you would think somebody that looks like me wouldn't have to do that, but it's the same way. The thing about it, we didn't call it Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? When those things was happening, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't Illuminati. So is it only Illuminati for like when men are going through this thing? Because this is like a new revelation with the homosexuals rising up and stuff like that. So we're not really used to this on a mass scale. But it wasn't called Illuminati back then because it's been happening. You know, as far as Chad dropped some knowledge on Sam Cooke, man. I never knew that. But I'm pretty sure Chad knows I have a song with Sam Cooke's death in it. You know what I'm saying? So I researched that thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's very interesting what you said. As far as his death, you know, and I don't know if y'all are familiar with his death. Sam Cooke met a young lady in a club, right? The young lady didn't approach him. Sam Cooke approached the lady. You know, they ended up, Sam Cooke was married at the time. They ended up going to a motel, whatnot. They about to do what they do and stuff. Sam Cooke, for whatever reason, went to the bathroom. The young lady stole Sam Cooke's pants and left the motel room, right? So Sam Cooke, he was, first of all, Sam Cooke is well known that he partook of various different substances and stuff like that. So in his state, he came out of the bathroom. He didn't have his pants, no underwear. He just had his shirt and jacket on, right? So in the rage, he went looking for this girl, right? And lo and behold, she's in the manager's office. And it's a female manager at the motel and stuff like that. And Sam Cooke is just in a rage and just in the rage. And the female manager ends up shooting him in the chest twice, I believe. You know, his last words were, "You shot me," and then he killed over. You know, it's a very sad demise for a legend in our music. My thing is, what connects that? What connects that random act? Because a lot of this stuff was initiated by Sam Cooke. This wasn't initiated by anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Even though there are things as far as differences as far as the crime scene photos and stuff like that. These acts were initiated by Sam Cooke, not anybody else, right? Sam Cooke approached the woman. Sam Cooke, you know, left the room, went into the bathroom and stuff like that. You know, as far as Heavy D, the thing about Heavy D is, and I heard what Sarah said as far as the imagery, and I understand things are tied to certain things, but my question is, how do you know who is tied to what? You understand what I'm saying? For instance, myself, I don't know if y'all seen it before, I've worn shirts with skulls on it on this show. You know what I'm saying? That means something. In certain circles, that means something. I can tell you right now, it means nothing to me. It means on that day, that shirt matched my shoes. That's all it meant. So my question is, who is the deciding factor of, okay, that's an Illuminati act and that's not? It seems arbitrary to me. Another example, and I give weight to the panel, is, you know, Professor Griff, a person very knowledgeable, you know, and I listen to a lot of things he says. He brought up Michelle Obama's Vogue cover, right? and he was saying a whole bunch of knowledge before that, and then he went to that picture, and Michelle Obama is posed on Vogue with one hand like this, and it's the other hand. You know the symbol that is alleged Baphomet symbol. The hand is doing that. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying that this is a message. I find that highly that's hard to believe. I'm just gonna straight up tell you that's hard to believe. If I follow y'all with a camera, I know that was a posed thing, but a lot of these other things are naturally done. You know what I'm saying? If I follow y'all with a camera, I can put y'all and edit and have editing capabilities. I can make y'all look to seem to be the most lascivious person on earth. You understand what I'm saying? So that's nothing new, and we know this is capable. You know, so that's my question to the panel is, how do we know who is who, what's this and what's that?
If
we get into that, we're gonna let Sarah go. Then if anybody wants to answer that question, they can answer that question. But that's a good lead into the next question as well. So go ahead, Sarah.
True. I'd just like to remind everybody that you can definitely get at us at visualradiolive.webs.com. We're also on YouTube right now live, so I thank you for the live viewers. And don't forget to comment on this. We want to hear from you, like Chad said earlier. We want to hear from you. We want to hear about you, and you are more than welcome to join the panel. All right, so on to the nature of the beast, right? Because once you know the nature of a thing, you can predict its behaviors. Let me say that again. Once you know the nature of a thing, you can predict its behaviors. So it's not like if Job wears a skull shirt, he's automatically a part of Skull and Bones. No, we're looking at the history of a thing. So it's like, okay, you would have to have been in this bloodline, first of all. You're in the bloodline, and then you're consistently doing these symbols, and then you're consistently speaking in this way, and then you're consistently a part of these groups. That in totality is how you know the nature of a person. That's why they say, you know, it's by association. You know, the top 5 people that you really
Mike's guys,
my fault.
Somebody please use the mic.
I'm sorry, the top 5 people that you hang with, and this is something that one of my closest friends always tells me, the top 5 people that you hang with determines the type of person that you are in one way, shape, or form. You know, so it's like, okay, you know, somebody, and pause, a good book for you guys to look at, viewing audience and everybody on this panel, either look at or Google it, YouTube, is Codex Magica. Codex Magica. It's by a guy named Tex Mars, and he outlines all this because it's just like secret handshakes. You know, how many of us in our youth have had some kind of fly secret handshake? Like even Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff had that because they had the thing. But it's deeper than that. It becomes deeper than that when you get involved in the bloodlines, when you start talking about groups of people that say, we don't want you in our group because you don't make enough, or you can't be a part of this decision because it outright will affect not only you or your bloodline.
Specifically, you just said as far as totality, and I agree with that. So my question is, where is the totality with Heavy D? Because you mentioned about the imagery. So were you saying that he's a part of Illuminati? What else ties him to Illuminati?
I'm saying specifically that we need to look at consistent images. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a lot of feedback. It just like hurt my ear. Let me turn this down for you. Hello? Testing? Mic check. My fault for that short circuit, but I couldn't hear right. Okay, so this is my thing. Like, when you go back and consistently look at people's imagery and even watch their transition, that's the thing about when people are up on a platform, we get to see their transition from beginning to end. Why were you this person in the beginning, and then overnight you become this person, and then you're this person for the duration of your career? And then you got to go back and follow the money. You know, how is it that you haven't come out with an album? And I'm not specifically saying Heavy D. I'm saying more along the lines of the totality of it. You know, follow the money. How is it that you haven't, you know, produced an album or something in all these years, but you're still kicking it with, you know, these people?
Put your mic on this part. Thanks,
Still kicking it with all these people that, you know, have all this money. I was getting ready to say kicking it with the blue bloods, but I don't want to drop too many, like, I don't want to, you know, I'm not the conspiracy theory person, but I deal in fact that is earnestly researched.
So to clarify, because it came off to me like you were implicating Heavy D in the Illuminati. So to clarify, you're not saying that he was in the Illuminati.
To clarify, I'm saying I invite the audience and everyone on this panel to go back and look at the imagery, and then we can bring it back for further discussion.
So which video are we talking about in particular?
I forget the name of it. I didn't come prepared with that, but I can. This is what I can do. I can go back and send the links out to you guys, and also send the link out to put the link on the website so everybody can see exactly what I'm talking about. And all you gotta do is Google it. Heavy D video with the fallen angel in the background. That's all. I'm just saying, look at the imagery. He was this, you know, this heavy guy that used to dance around and blah blah blah. Then all of a sudden, he's this dark guy with this, you know, gangster rap, and Heavy D's not gangster rap. That's just not you. It's not. You know, that's like me trying to come out like Nicki Minaj. It'll never work. That's just not me. You know, and that's all I'm saying. I need, you know, I think that in order for us to have intelligent conversations on anything, we got to see it all first, all be aware of the same knowledge. We all need to be illuminated, you know what I'm saying, in that way, and then we can come back with exactly the same thing, chapter and verse, and have a more, you know, direct conversation.
Okay, guys, so that's for the for all of the guests. You guys can go to visualradiolive.webs.com. We have some information up on that within this next week. Again, we always appreciate all the comments. I know this is a hot topic. I want you guys to start tying everything that you have into this next question as well, because we're on a good topic. We got some good heat going on right now. We're not going to cool it down. If they are so known, this is another question. If they are so known, why is it a secret organization? Was this ever meant to be a secret organization? I think it's a good question. And the reason, and I want to say this too. A lot of times we say these conspiracy theories, people say they have these theories going on, this thing going on, and there's a bigger movement going on somewhere else, and it takes your attention from what's really hurting you. So is this the case with people believing, if it's Carrie Underwood, and nothing in particular, I'm not saying that she is, it's just a name I came out in country. If it's Marilyn Manson, the name I came up with rock, nothing in particular, not implicating anybody. If it's LeBron James, if it's Charles Barkley, if it's Larry Bird, we are, as people in general, we tend to be that raccoon with their fist closed within the log with the shiny thing in the fist. And sometimes all we have to do is let go. You know, we let go of the shiny thing, then we are free from that trap. But we have a shiny thing right here, and we don't even know what it's worth. We don't even know. I just know that it's shiny. I'm attracted to shiny stuff. But I got somebody coming to skin me shortly and eat me and boil me and everything else. So I'm saying is one, and some of us did some research. I'm sure we all did research. We saw the names. We saw where it may have originated at. This is what the Wikipedia, my professor always say, don't go off Wikipedia page. You know, you can't reference Wikipedia in any of your reports. But you go through the websites and you see certain things. YouTube is a wonderful information source that we have going on these days. And just good people, good library, good people that have studied the topic more extensive than I have myself and that we have totally. So the question is now, if it was meant to ever be, or if it is currently a secret society, why are they so known? Again, it kind of gets back to the purpose, but why is it so known? Let's start out with Aaron. We hadn't heard from Aaron in a spell.
Oh, you said why it's so known? It's not really a secret society. It's just a group of power. Like they control all the branches of operations. Like any kind of, like you said, politics, music, like all the businesses and powerful corporations. Anything that's involving money, they got their hands in it some way or somehow. Like it's not secret. It's a phenomenon by a bunch of people that just followers, and a lot of people just be, like you said, they're undercover haters. They don't know why they're not in this level of success or And it's just like, you know what I mean? That's like, it's not really a secret society to me, man. They just run the music business. I mean, that's what it is. It's old money, quote unquote. Old money. That's it. What else was I gonna follow up? Like, I did want to say one thing what Joe was saying about Professor Griff. Professor Griff's house got set on fire. He had to slow down off of that, off of all the talk he was speaking on. So I mean, I know what you're saying, being skeptic, but a lot of things are not coincidental. Like, you know, yeah, he had his house got set on fire. This was like last year, sometime, or it's a while back.
All right, Chad, what you think?
As with anything, and I kind of agree with first of all, I absolutely understand where Joe was coming from as far as the skeptical side, and I absolutely agree with what Ham said. I don't necessarily myself consider it a secret society. I just consider it, you know, a conglomerate of people, you know, that are all in power for the sole purpose of you know, of monetary gain, as well as you know, they're ultimately being a secular society. So why is their agenda so well known? Well, as with any great thing, you're always going to have a you know, defectors and everything. If you ever get a chance to look at some interviews by a gentleman by the name of Aaron Russo, director of I believe it was Trading Spaces with Eddie Murphy and Bill Murray. Is that the name of the movie? Or Trading Places. He talked a lot about this stuff, about that stuff, because he had actually spent some time with these Rockefellers and everything. But yeah, it's because you can't have, you know, it has to be a system. If you're going to have something that's, again, the Illuminati, what they want to call it, if you're going to have something like that's a system of control, you have to have, you know, different components of that in different areas. So if you want political power, you know, in one area, you can't just have a rising star politician. He has to be in bed with somebody who's going to back him financially at the financial industry, you know. And if he's going to look good, despite of anything bad he's done, then he has to be in bed with somebody who has control over the press, right? Because in this country, there's no such thing as freedom of the press. You only have freedom of the press so long as you own your own print, you know. So I think overall, it's a conglomerate, you know, of people that are in power, and as with anything, you're always going to have, you know, defectors and those that have had experience with them or dealt with them, and that come out and talk about it. There's a book, I forgot the name, I read it a couple of years ago, called Confessions of an Economic Hitman, and he was one of these guys that goes to these foreign countries and tells, okay, look, we'll give you foreign aid and all this kind of stuff, but when it comes time for us to vote on such and such in the UN Council, you're going to vote this way. Or, yeah, we'll help you, but these companies are going to be the ones that are going to come in and build this and rape you of all your resources and everything like that. So I just think it's all, at the end of the day, it's all, you know, all this stuff is related on some level or another as far as people, you know, at the top for the sake of monetary gain.
Going on the line, Joe, what you got for us?
Just staying succinct, review the question.
Basically, if they are so known, why they're a secret society?
These are questions that I can't really. I'm really on it, you know, just to hear, because the terminology that we're using, I'm not down with it. You know what I'm saying? I can't contribute as far as the terminology that's being used. Secret society. There are millions of secret societies. It's billions of secret societies. I don't know if they're known. I don't know if they're not known. You understand what I'm saying? I just, you know, I'm struggling to hear and analyze, because I'm not being what. And going back to what Aaron said, I respect that as far as Professor Griff's house being burnt, and I didn't even bring that up as far as him as a person. What my point was, he was on a good roll. If you remember, I said he was on a good roll. He was dropping knowledge, and then he dropped something that was highly questionable. He got on another good roll, and then he dropped something that I felt was highly questionable again. So if I'm listening to a speaker, I take all of this into consideration. I'm paying for gold. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff that I can use, I take, and the stuff I can't use, I just throw away. So I really struggle with that question as far as why they hitting, why are they not hitting, and stuff like that, you know. So I'd have to defer to someone with more knowledge on that situation. Okay?
All right, so you're saying that this, you're saying things that you can take and things that you cannot take. In general, with the topic that we're speaking about, certain controls, we pretty much know that we can say that we've seen the evolution. We've been speaking about the evolution. We're going on the history that we've had on this show as a panel, the certain history of things. What do you take away from the evolution? So let's go back a previous show. What do you take away from the evolution of hip-hop? And do you think there's a controlling element outside of hip-hop?
You back to me?
Yes, sir.
Evidently, no doubt about it. No question. There is a controlling element in hip-hop. You know, what that controlling element is called, up for debate. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, that controlling element, as all controlling elements, comes down to money. That's what it comes down to. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have to look for a mysterious, shadowy group to look for a person or a conglomerate that's trying to influence me to go to a certain way. All I have to do is cut on the TV. You understand what I'm saying? It's not, you know, a lot of people are caught up in, it has to be fancy. It has to be met. When really a lot of the times what's really hurting you is right in front of your TV. You just got to roll up your sleeves, look at it, and get to work. You know what I'm saying? It's right in your face. You understand? Commercials. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about mind control and stuff like that, people do certain, it's a reason why McDonald's looks like that. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason why this looks like that. And it all comes down to money. It all comes, in my opinion, it all comes down to money. You know, so it's not necessary for me to quote unquote assign all this power to one almighty group as just to say people are wicked. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying people don't get together and collude and conspire together. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. But the stuff that can't be proven, you know what I'm saying? Giving a shout out to Lost Poet. You know, it's just certain things that I'm down with. It's certain things. Lost Poet opened my mind to the fact that we might not know everything about 9/11 as far as those towers. I don't know how it sounds to other people, but what he was saying and how the buildings fell and everything, and I researched that some more, and allegedly BBC had a reporter that reported a building falling before the building even fell. So this opens legitimate question, you know, so I can go back and actually see this on file, track it down, and say, okay, I'm skeptical now. Maybe they are not telling us. We don't have to wonder about if the government is telling us the truth, all the truth. They're not. They're never going to. You understand? That's the nature of the government. Go back to the Tuskegee experiments when they was shooting black people full of syphilis. They didn't tell them, we shooting you full of syphilis. They told them something else. You know what I'm saying? So all of this, so it's going on. You know what I'm saying? So the evolution of hip-hop is definitely being controlled. You know, it's definitely being steered in a certain way. But I think the end game is everything comes down to money. Wu-Tang was prophetic. Cash rules everything around me. That goes from record labels, that goes from your preacher, that goes to everything, on down the line. Cash.
Exactly.
You had a few epic quotes in that particular segment right there. One point you sounded like you were from New Orleans. I didn't know if you caught that. We already go about you said you didn't say steer, you said steered. So I really like how you got into it right there. And at the beginning of that particular segment, you guys go back and watch it. He was making a real good point, and the light came behind him. So not saying that you are our illuminated one, but it was like the sun had coming through the curtains and everything, man. So that was a real powerful bracket of the segment right there. Sarah, give us some. We know that you always have some. You study. This is not just who you are. This is a part of your life, and that's speaking for everybody on the panel. This is a part of our life, but you're one of the people that I've met recently within the last year of my life that has a genuine passion So on the topic at hand, speaking on some of the stuff that Job, Aaron, and Chad just spoke on, give us some of that genuine passion.
Yeah, I want to thank God for that light that came up behind Job, though. I saw it too, and I didn't want to, come off of mute, but that was
Looking now, he
real.
looking, look at him.
That's real talk, and so I mean, this is what I have to say, because the hard thing about, having a certain set of knowledge in a group that may not necessarily have been exposed to as many things as you have, is that the burden of proof will always be on me. Or not, and I'm not saying me as in, attack on me. I'm just saying the burden of proof is always on the one who says, okay, this does exist, here it is, blah, 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 but do we have 5 hours for me to go through 10 years of studying? You know what I'm saying? I agree with Job in saying, okay, if this is really true, then where's the evidence? Like, let's not get too far-fetched with it. I agree with that, and I used to be that same type of person until it was one day just far-fetched. And I mean, so here's the thing that I want to say, right? Whether we can agree that the Illuminati exists or not, we can agree that only a certain number of people actually control record companies. It's not like we got 10,000 record companies. It's not even really like we got 10. Think about it. Even if you do have your own record company, you're coming off of somebody like Sony. You know what I'm saying? So let's start looking at that, and let's start narrowing it down. We can't say Illuminati and start discussing that if we're not coming down to one specific point. If we're going to keep it hip-hop, follow the money. Follow who's cutting those checks, and then see what people are saying they had to do in order to get that check. That's where we start. I can go into, okay, the Illuminati or whatever you want to call it, those bloodlines are direct descendants of fallen angels, but are you really going to believe me if I say that right now? No, because you are a thinking adult and you haven't had the prior knowledge to do that. You know what I'm saying? Look up Genesis 6. Look up the Book of Enoch. Look up Codex Magica, and then we can start to have these discussions that break down your understanding. Until your understanding or your understanding of your misunderstanding is broken down, it's too far-fetched. It's too far-fetched for me. I hope that answered a question or two.
No, it's real good, real good. Again, guys, remember visualradiolive.webs.com. We'll have some more information on there for you guys. Guys, we got about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less, but we're going to shut it down here in the next 10 minutes. I got one more question for you guys as well. I really appreciate it. Joe, hit your mic, appreciate it. A lot of stuff that we've been talking about, is helpful just to start the conversation. A lot of times that's just what it takes, something just to start the conversation. And it's been going on, but sometimes you have to start it not saying that this is bad, but we have to start it in lesser demographics. We have to start it in people that don't believe they have anything left, because sometimes when people don't believe they have anything left, they'll just accept anything. They'll just accept the influences that they get in their life because they're in this particular area, they're in this particular neighborhood, they're in this particular segment of society. So I think that's part of our goal overall. Again, I really appreciate having the opportunity to host this particular show. I got my family in the house, so I'm thankful for that they're able to share it with me too. Sarah saw all of them. This is what I want us to be able to do. Continue to give our best. One thing that we always do on this particular show, we always talk about family and what we can do with our family. We don't just talk about making a big movement. We do this show from our houses. I'm currently in the third room of my house. I'm in my bedroom now because people are in the other rooms. But I'm thankful that I can do the show in my house because it starts first with my house. So as I get ready to make one last point and ask you guys a question, and as we start getting ready to wrap it up, the Pharisees, remember, biblical people, the Pharisees, they were not rich. They did not have that money. They had certain influence in their particular society. The priests of old, the people that had the knowledge, the wizards, whatever, people that had that particular knowledge. They weren't rich, but they had influence. So are we seeking the right trail? Are we seeking the monetary trail? Are we seeking the influence? See what I'm saying? So that's what we're kind of on to. We actually, and it's not sad, but as we get ready to shut down, we actually haven't gotten that much closer. We've talked about a couple of things, but we haven't gotten that much closer. But I think in our search, we'll continue to get closer. So that's one thing I want to pose to us. Is it actually monetary? Or is it just influence? Is it the ability to say, I want to live this certain life, or I want to basically destroy what's going on in other people's lives, or I want to determine what's going to go on in other people's lives? That's one thing that I kind of get from you guys, and y'all are actually in tune with one another. As we get ready to wrap it up, we're going to make our last comments in visual radiolive.webs.com. I really appreciate everyone listening and contributing as well. This is something that I think Joe should start out with. How do we determine what's fact?
How do we determine what's fact?
Yes, sir.
Like Sarah said, you have to do your homework. You have to go and analyze a person, whatever you're dealing with. You have to analyze it from A to B and see the consistency, see the inconsistencies. Give room for error, give room for there is a such thing as coincidence. Just do your homework. So it's a method. It's a method. We can tell there are things that are reported. They're factual. That we can go back and research and say, okay, this happened. Okay, there's doubt about this. We can do it. It just takes more time to do it, but it's the tools are more available to us more than ever. Right now, in the internet generation, information is everywhere, So it's just about, and then you're going back to once you get a body of facts or whatever, it depends on what your ruler is. It depends on what your inner ruler. In other words, I don't really buy into his ideology and stuff like that, but Rush Limbaugh stands for something, and he's going to stand for that something today, tomorrow, yesterday. He's going to stand for that thing. You know what I'm saying? So that aspect of him, I respect that. You know what I'm saying? We could differ among different things. My ruler happens to be the Word of God. My ruler happens to be the Bible. So everything, just living real life, everything that goes on out there, I bring it back. If I'm on point, I bring it back to the Bible. I bring it back. What does God? Because to me, we could debate if the Bible is inspired Word of God. That's a whole different show. It is for me. You understand? So my thing is, this is what I'm measuring things by. It might be something different from you. It might be education for you. I'm not telling you mine is better than yours. It might be life experience for Chad. So it's all these filters, but there's a multitude of ways to find out what's fiction and what's fact.
Very good. Aaron, go on, give us something.
You talking about what was the question? It was about power and influence.
No, fact. How do we determine what is fact concerning this particular topic? Illuminated in hip hop.
Illuminated, and what's the truth? I mean, the truth is just the fact that it's simple fact is the founding families. That's it. Whatever the 5 families were, they branched off. They had kids, grandchildren, and they have a line of successors. And it pretty much it branches into all corporations. Musically, that's what it is. You got a few record labels that pretty much do all the distribution. Like I got the Sony, was it Def Jam, Atlantic, stuff like that. In hip hop, particularly, I think them 3 off top. And that's where the distribution goes. Like I remember, it's a story where it was like Irv Gotti, Suge Knight, and what's the other guy? Jay Prince. They tried to start a black distribution record label, and Suge went to jail automatically after that. Like that's where it comes from. Like they know that's the power. The power is in distribution in the record labels. And you know, if we have the power in that, you know, then we can properly market artists. You can get different artists out there and different types of music out there more in the public eye. But until we get the distribution, we'll never be able to really have any form of power. That's the truth in the end to me.
Sarah, what you got for us?
Do we have time for a question on that end?
Go ahead.
I remember that exact time. I remember a lot of people talking about it. Something similar is this Hollywood. She's a very big proponent of Illuminati. She used to manage Mad Lion KRS-One, had a record company. She had her thing going. A group of people came in, offered her money, didn't force her, offered her money, you know, to go their way, right? Yeah. She chose to do this. In the process of doing that, she got involved with illegal activities, right? So it came to a point where she didn't want to do that no more, and she wanted to break away. That was the time that she got incarcerated. She would also tell you that that's the time that John Forte got incarcerated. So she's implying that the Illuminati caused these things to occur. So my thing is this. Somebody did cause those things to occur. My thing is, are y'all familiar with like traditional gangs and mafia and stuff like that? Because that's what used to run the record company. You know what I'm saying? Mafia money and stuff like it wasn't called Illuminati. So are y'all saying that the old gangs of old are Illuminati? Because if I go very easily into this frame of mind as far as mafia gangs and stuff like that. If I want this territory, you know, and I'm trying to build my thing, I'm coming in making you an offer. Marlo did that on The Wire, right? You understand what I'm saying? Marlo had a territory. He wanted everything. You know what I'm saying? Marlo was just not negotiating with people. If you didn't do it, you was going to get killed. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing that I'm seeing with the music industry. It's just gangsterism. You know what I'm saying? So why are we focused on labeling it as this Illuminati thing?
It's not really about Illuminati per se. It's just like things are coincidental. It's all about power and money and influence, like he was saying. It's not about Illuminati. It's about money, power, and influence, and it's a certain group of people who have that money, power, and influence. Record label distribution is the power in music. So that's where it comes down to. It's not even about Illuminati. It's a group of people who have money. That mafia story has other. It's even more in depth than that, because the mafia had leverage on the so-called founding families from what I had read up, certain type of pictures, and they muscled their way into power because they had leverage. But all it comes down to is power, like period, money and power.
Very good. Sarah, what you got for us? What's fact? How do we determine what is fact?
All right, so first of all, Illuminati only means a group of people that are illuminated. Like Illuminus is singular, you know, singular for that word, and Illuminati means plural. Like if we would put the S on the end of a word. Like, so it's not puppy, it's puppies. That's all Illuminati is. So I agree. Like, the whole way that I got into this, because I love when Job talks about his ruler is the Bible, his ruler is Christ. Like, let's keep it right here, and whatever makes sense right here, then we can work on other things and learn. That's the same thing that I did. I started all of this like 2000 and whatever years ago, you know, because God woke me up with one question: who are the Nephilim? And that is in the Bible, that word, that term. And from that came all this other research, came Genesis 6 giants, came, you know, the bloodlines and where it started from. I know y'all know this, but let me just say it one more time. I was a teacher for the first 10 years of any career that I ever did in life. And what that taught me was research. If you don't know the fact, don't go out there and teach them kids that, because they're going to remember that for the rest of their life. And from that is how I built my research. And it all started with the Bible, the word Nephilim. And let me just bring this fact up as the Bible being my ruler. I know you guys have heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, correct? There is a Dead Sea Scroll called the Book of Enoch. And in the book of Jude, which is in the Bible, it quotes the book of Enoch. So, okay, because I believe that the Bible is the inspired word of God. You know, listening audience, take it or leave it, that's what I believe. So it's like, okay, if Jude, who is Jesus' brother, quoted the book of Enoch, let me look at this and pay attention to it a little bit more. And when you go back and look at the book of Enoch, which you can Google the entire PDF, I have the book, but you can actually Google the PDF, download it, print it out, and read it for yourself. It talks about when these fallen angels, is what I call them, fell down to earth, took human women, raped them, created seed, and then said, okay, we'll teach you, you, and you knowledge. This is how we get weapons. This is how we get science. This is how we get medicine. It all comes from this place, and from there you can determine who are the bloodlines of the Illuminati. From the Bible, you can determine, why do they want this power? What's, this, that, and the fourth. If we can't say, okay, we can't start from where we are today and go backwards 10 years or even 50 years. We got to start from the Alpha and the Omega, and listen to what he's saying about it so we can learn how it all started, and then it begins to click in your brain. Not the other way around.
Very good, very good. So, Chad, you wrapping us up. Fact, how do we determine what is fact?
I'm not 100% sure we can ever determine what, is exactly, fact or fiction. I think that the most we can always look at is, the consistency, and things that we see. And I totally respect, everybody's opinion where they're coming from. I invite Job's skepticism. I think a lot of times, we can still, again, get caught up in the lane. If we get rid of the name Illuminati for a second, let's just say, like he mentioned, the mafia, at one point was running, the music industry, but we weren't calling it Illuminati, but now we are. I mean, they may or may not all be the same people. What I'm saying, basically, when you talk about this Illuminati thing, I'm just looking at it as there has to be, an effort of different groups of people that all work together, or else you couldn't have a system, regardless of what you call it. So let's just say, for instance, you have the mafia that's going in and muscling in their way into the music industry. Well, they have to be in bed with somebody, on the law enforcement side, or else you can it's as simple as reporting them to the police. So it's all, a concerted effort of people that are working together, again, for the sake of monetary gain. Right now, President Obama is working on legislation now, obviously with the whole immigration thing and things of this nature right there. And one of his major contributors to his campaign was a lot of the phone companies, AT&T, Verizon, and they're all lobbying for him to push this bill, not because they care anything about foreign workers coming to this country, but because they specifically want the cheap labor. And so when they talk about Illuminati, I think it's just a term used to describe a group of people in all aspects of political and financial segments of the world that work together for a common goal, which is basically again, more and more money, and keeping that for a select group of people, because you can only be rich to the tune that somebody else has less than you do. And when I say that, I'm talking monetary wise. If everybody on this planet had $10 billion, then there'd be no such thing as wealthy or rich. Everybody would be the same. And so that's the way I look at it, though. But so it's not so much as, I don't think we can ever know fact or fiction. I just think you have to kind of look at the consistencies in the way things work for the common benefit of a select group of people.
Very good, guys. I really appreciate you guys. We had a lot of different avenues, basically, but we all in the back on Main Street. Really appreciate you guys today. Love those smiles. Really appreciate you guys. Good preparation. Sarah, when is our next show?
Our next show, so we have off. Let me come out of this because I'm playing with my screen share right now. I'm trying to get this together for y'all. So we have off next week, but we will be coming back officially the first week in February, which is actually February the 2nd, God willing.
Okay.
And I also, if I could take this time, I want to screen share because as you guys know, we have officially begun our spinoff, which is artist interviews or visual radio live underground artist interviews. And today we had a wonderful interview with Jay, aka Jay Tonic. Can y'all see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure, right. And so I invite the listening audience and everybody to check it out. That interview will be posted live on my YouTube channel, which is the NC Robinson, and it'll also be on the website, which is probably the easiest way, at visualradiolive.webs.com. And the cool thing about this particular cat is that he not only is an MC, but he also is a tattoo artist, and down at the bottom I have a quick slideshow of the things that he does and the things that he's into. So, you know, I just definitely invite you guys to be a part of the process. Just be a part of the process, and remember, you know, if we're talking about distribution, that nobody should have this sort of control over our lives. We are in control of our own distribution, owing no one nothing but God.
Amen. So we're getting ready to close this show. Appreciate everyone. First week of February, we'll be back. Again, wonderful show, guys. Good preparation, a lot of good passion, a lot of good ideas. So I'm not the one in control, but whoever the one in control. See you guys later.
All right, I want it.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.